I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point, and the things that they're going to miss is, well, everything.
Cameras were on, then everything suddenly stalled. Every word landed heavier than the one before as he addressed Meghan Markle directly, and the shift in the room was instant. What began as a calm comment quickly turned into a moment that stunned both supporters and critics, quietly reshaping a story people thought was already settled. Was this loyalty showing through, a flash of regret, or something far more revealing? Something that could permanently change how the public views their journey from here on out? The silence cracked, and the truth didn't stay hidden. This didn't happen under bright light.
This is not a surprise to anybody. It's really sad that it's got to this point, but I've got to do something for my own mental health, for my wife's, and for Archie's as well, because I could see where this was headed.
Or loud headlines. Just days ago, at a private wellness summit in California focused on men's mental health, Prince Harry appeared calm, guarded, and unusually reflective. Very few cameras, almost no press, zero expectations. This was meant to be a protected space, not a public performance. As he spoke about well-being, identity, and fatherhood, one comment felt familiar and soft. He shared that he missed the UK, missed parts of his former life, and felt genuine sadness that he may never fully show his children where he came from. It sounded like quiet reflection, until the tone shifted. One question cut through the calm.
Every single time you have those headlines, we all get that there's a really big urgent message.
Had he ever felt like he lost himself in love? People in the room say, Harry froze. His smile faded, his posture stiffened, and the pause that followed felt heavy and unfiltered. When he finally spoke, it wasn't smooth, rehearsed, or carefully packaged. It didn't sound angry. It sounded like release. He admitted there was a time he no longer recognized the man staring back at him. He thought he was choosing freedom, only to realize that freedom can sometimes feel boxed in. The silence that followed wasn't polite or awkward. It was stunned. Those words didn't float around gently. They hit hard, within hours. A short clip from the summit.
I want to tell you a story that'll sort of give context to my being here and my work with you.
Was everywhere online. People replayed it frame by frame. Analysts broke down his tone. Mental health experts debated the meaning. Royal watchers jumped in fast. This wasn't vague reflection or poetic talk. It felt personal, pointed, and heavily loaded. Freedom can feel like a cage. Didn't sound random to many listeners. To them, it clearly pointed in one direction, behind palace walls and beyond the gates of Montecito.
Mothers and fathers who've lost a child to online harm. However, Newsweek reports it's now been passed over to another organization called Parents Together.
Sources say this moment had been building for months. No loud blow-ups, no public scenes, just quiet pressure stacking up. Insiders close to Prince Harry describe a slow shift happening in his mindset, piece by piece, especially as their streaming plans started losing momentum. Those cracks reportedly grew wider. Meghan Markle pushed ahead with more projects, more visibility, more control of the narrative. Harry, meanwhile, wanted the opposite. Peace, quiet, breathing room. One source kept it real. He's worn down, tired of being the voice, the shield, the always agree guy. For years, Harry believed he was protecting her from a system he viewed as rigid and overwhelming. That belief justified everything. Until lately, that story has started flipping on him, slowly and painfully. He's starting to question whether he was ever the rescuer at all, or if, along the way, he slowly faded while watching his old world move forward without him. His brother settled into stability.
Markle, who appear to have abandoned another project. The Parents Network was part of the couple's Archwell Foundation.
His father locked in on legacy. The monarchy adjusted, adapted, and kept rolling. Without Harry in the frame, Harry now seems stuck in an uneasy middle space, not fully free, not fully grounded. And that moment in California may have revealed something much bigger than nostalgia or reflection. Once that door cracked open, it didn't look like it was meant to shut again. As Harry stands between independence and structure, the real question hits hard. Does he reclaim himself? Or did that single moment change everything for good? Because once the script slipped from his hands, What followed felt heavier, darker, and deeply unsettling. No longer a working royal, but not truly free either. Prince Harry now exists in a strange in-between, surrounded by comfort, protection, and wealth. Yet insiders say the isolation has only grown sharper with time. People close to the situation claim Meghan Markle sensed the shift almost immediately after the summit clip spread online. What followed, they say, was a tightening grip. Projects, appearances, messaging, even casual moments, now carefully filtered to avoid surprises. The concern was simple, but serious. Harry speaking again without guardrails. And yet, that's exactly what happened. Within hours, sources describe panic behind closed doors, urgent calls between PR teams, rapid-fire messages to event organizers asking how the footage surfaced, and if more clips existed. But by then, the moment had already escaped control. The internet didn't waste time labeling it Harry's slip of truth. For once, the words felt raw, unguarded, not polished, and definitely not approved. And one detail stood out more than anything else. When the reaction exploded, Harry didn't rush to explain, soften, or spin it. He went quiet. And this time, the silence hit different. Since then, the pattern has been impossible to ignore. Fewer joint interviews, separate calendars, more solo appearances. When Prince Harry does step out, people close to him say there's a heaviness that wasn't there before. Friends describe him as withdrawn, deeply thoughtful, almost distant. One former military friend shared a moment that unsettled even those closest to him. Harry used to light up every room, laughing, talking, commanding attention. Now he reportedly sits quietly, staring into his drink, like his mind is somewhere else entirely. Then came the comment that stopped that friend cold. Harry admitted that sometimes he misses being invisible. Let that sink in. A man who stepped away from one of the most visible institutions on the planet searching for privacy, now wishing he could fade into the background. That single line reframes everything. The freedom he chased didn't arrive as promised. Instead, it came with obligations, cameras, expectations, and constant pressure to perform. The palace may have been structured, but life outside brought its own kind of restraint. And what makes this moment hit harder? It doesn't feel sudden. It feels like years of pressure finally stacking up. The deals, the interviews, the non-stop global spotlight were sold as freedom. But that freedom came with conditions. He had to stay visible, vocal, and perfectly aligned at all times. And now, even those closest to him quietly admit this was never about one comment at a summit or one viral clip. That moment didn't create the fracture. It exposed what was already there. The realization didn't hit overnight. It formed slowly, painfully, and once it surfaced in public, there was no pushing it back in. Because when a man admits he wants to fade from view, it raises a bigger question. What happens if he finally stops playing the role altogether? As Harry's silence grows heavier, that question hangs in the air. Does he fully reclaim himself, or has the illusion already started to crack for good? When the mask slipped and the brand took priority, one thing became clear. This wasn't an accident or a careless remark. What happened at the Wellness Summit was something long buried, forcing its way out. What once looked like freedom now feels more like a polished enclosure, built from privilege, expectations, and quiet pressure. Insiders say Meghan Markle saw the shift happening in real time. Harry wasn't falling apart suddenly. He was slowly coming undone, right in front of the world. What truly unsettles those closest to the couple isn't tension alone. Relationships strain all the time. What alarms them is where the focus appears to be landing. According to multiple sources, the priority right now isn't fixing what's breaking between two people. It's protecting what surrounds them. The image, the brand, the carefully managed narrative. Because this version of Harry, the honest, reflective one speaking without approval, isn't just emotionally risky. It threatens everything built around him. He's strategically dangerous. One Hollywood insider didn't sugarcoat it. If Harry keeps speaking this openly, the illusion starts cracking, and once that happens, it can't be rebuilt. That fear, quietly, is what's driving everything behind the scenes right now. Because Harry isn't just sharing feelings anymore, he's exposing patterns, the slow loss of identity, the hidden cost of love when it gets tangled with power, cameras, and contracts. Every sentence now feels weighted. Every pause feels intentional, like a man checking whether he's still allowed to exist outside the role assigned to him. And here's the most unsettling part. This isn't happening in a private journal or a closed-door session. It's happening out in the open, where nothing can be pulled back once it lands. Each time Harry speaks, it sounds less like reflection and more like a test, a quiet experiment to see how far he can go before the walls tighten again. And judging by what followed, the response from Montecito was fast and firm. If Harry's comments at the California Wellness Summit sent shockwaves through the Sussex Circle, the reaction afterward amplified everything. Within minutes of the clip spreading online, it took over platforms everywhere. Millions of views, endless replays, comment sections filling faster than any team could manage. The phrase, "freedom can feel like a cage," took on a life of its own, repeated, analyzed, and spun in every direction. Insiders say Meghan Markle went straight into crisis mode. Phones ringing non-stop, advisors scrambling, messages firing off everywhere. One source summed it up simply: the atmosphere inside the Montecito home felt like pure chaos. Picture the scene. Meghan Markle pacing across marble floors, barefoot, phone clenched tight in her hand. Her voice sharp, instructions flying fast. Get it taken down. Call everyone. Stop this now. But there was nothing left to stop. Those words were already out there, locked into the internet's memory. No retraction could erase them. No clarification could soften the impact. No carefully crafted joint statement could put them back in the bottle. And in that moment, something fundamental shifted. The issue was no longer what Harry said. It was that he said it at all. Once a man starts speaking without approval, silence becomes impossible to restore. Those words were out there for good. So now the question hangs heavy. Will Harry keep breaking his silence, or has the story already slipped beyond control? The narrative cracked, and the truth refused to play along. For years, Meghan had managed the public image with near-perfect precision. Every appearance measured, every quote shaped, every camera angle telling a carefully chosen story of who they were and why they left. Control wasn't just strategy, it was survival. But this time, the script slipped from her hands, and according to people close to the couple, that loss of control cut deeper than anything before. Insiders say Meghan confronted Harry the moment he got home. No soft entry, no careful phrasing. What followed wasn't a calm disagreement or a tense chat. By all accounts, it was their most intense confrontation yet. Voices raised, emotions raw. Meghan reportedly told Harry his words made her look calculating and cold. She accused him of handing critics exactly what they'd been waiting for, turning her into the villain of the story. In a story she had spent years protecting, one source claims Meghan Markle didn't hold back. She reportedly told him, flat out, that he had destroyed everything they worked for. That one moment of honesty had undone years of careful positioning. But according to people familiar with the exchange, Harry's reaction felt different this time. He didn't retreat. He didn't apologize. He didn't rush to smooth things over. For the first time in years, he didn't step back. Instead, he answered with 6 words that changed the entire room. "I didn't destroy anything. I told the truth." Insiders say the silence that followed was immediate and heavy, the kind of quiet that feels louder than shouting. Then Meghan stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the house. But the real shock didn't stay inside those walls. It spread fast and far. Online, reactions hit instantly. Royal watchers slowed the footage down, frame by frame. Social media analysts dissected his posture, his pauses, the moments where his voice softened. YouTube channels rushed out breakdowns within hours. Threads stretched endlessly, all circling the same takeaway. Harry wasn't performing anymore. He sounded real. Even the British press sensed the shift. Headlines were sharp and relentless. Confession, tension, freedom, or regret. The tone wasn't speculative, it was precise. And yet, amid the noise, something unexpected surfaced. According to a close friend, Harry didn't look angry afterward. He looked lighter, almost relieved, as if saying those words out loud, even briefly, had lifted a weight he'd been carrying for years. That friend described it as watching a man finally admit, if only to himself, that this wasn't the life he thought he was choosing back then. The promise of freedom came bundled with conditions he didn't fully see at the time. And once that realization lands, it doesn't stay quiet for long. Because when someone stops apologizing for their truth, the story doesn't reset, it shifts. And the people who built everything around the old version are suddenly forced to choose, protect the image, or face what happens when the man at the center no longer agrees to play along. So now the question hangs in the air. Does Harry finally step fully free, or does the weight of the old story press back down on him? Stay locked in. When the spin failed and silence spoke louder, Meghan Markle was reportedly not willing to let Harry's words sit on their own. According to those familiar with the fallout, she moved fast, focused, and with clear intent. Within hours, full-scale response mode kicked in. Favors were called. Trusted journalists contacted. Carefully shaped explanations quietly shared with select outlets. The response was swift, polished, and relentless. Almost immediately, familiar headlines started popping up. Harry is fragile. Harry is exhausted. Harry was misunderstood. Harry didn't mean it that way. Each version pushed the same message. Reframe the moment. Soften the meaning. Redirect the focus. But this time, the strategy struggled to stick. The clip didn't need translation or spin. It didn't rely on framing or context. It was raw, clear, and personal. Viewers didn't hear confusion. They heard clarity. As Meghan Markle's team pushed the message that the couple was stronger than ever, the internet responded with something no PR plan could control. Pushback. Comment sections filled at lightning speed. The same blunt takes repeated again and again. He looks unhappy. She's protecting herself, not him. This doesn't feel like partnership. It feels managed. The more polished the narrative became, the more unnatural it looked. Every attempt to smooth things over only spotlighted what felt off. Because behind closed doors, sources say the tension never lifted. It didn't explode. It settled. Thick, constant, and impossible to ignore. Harry, once the loudest presence in any room, has changed. Friends say the shift is impossible to miss. He isn't angry. He isn't dramatic. He's quiet, withdrawn, and deeply thoughtful in a way that feels new and unsettling. Those close to him believe that silence may be the most serious sign of all. Anger fades. Silence signals reflection. People who still see him describe long stretches of solitude, evenings spent alone, late walks through the garden when the house is quiet, sitting still by the fireplace, staring into space, replaying years of choices he once felt sure about. No scenes, no public blow-ups, just distance. And distance carries weight.
What makes this moment so unsettling is how perfectly it fits everything that came before. The summit admission, the refusal to walk it back, the 6-word response that shifted everything inside the house. Together, these moments form a pattern that's getting harder and harder to ignore. This isn't a man falling apart, it's a man reassessing. And reassessment threatens systems built on routine, consistency, and control. Meanwhile, the media machine keeps rolling. New articles drop daily, each trying to reframe the moment as temporary tension or misunderstood emotion. But the audience isn't buying it, and they're not moving on. If anything, they're watching closer, listening for what Harry says next, and maybe more importantly, for what he doesn't say, because something beneath the surface has shifted, not loudly, not dramatically, but enough to be felt. As the silence around Prince Harry deepens, those closest to the situation see the real risk. Not another viral moment, but a man quietly realizing the life he's living no longer feels like his own. And once that realization fully sets in, it rarely stays contained. So now, the question looms. Does Harry reclaim his life? Or does the silence signal a storm no one saw coming? Stay locked in. According to people close to Harry, a subtle but telling shift has been unfolding behind the scenes. He's reportedly stopped returning calls from several of Meghan Markle's Hollywood contacts, people who once formed the core of their California circle. Invitations go unanswered. Messages sit unread. That glossy social world has slowly faded into the background, and insiders insist this distance isn't accidental. It's deliberate. One source described the moment behind it as overwhelming. Harry finally saw how isolated he'd become. No family nearby, no childhood friends dropping in, no familiar voices grounding him day to day. In their place stood a carefully curated world of producers, strategists, and social climbers, all orbiting one central influence. And once Harry saw that clearly, something inside him shifted for good. It finally hit Prince Harry that for a long time, the loudest voice shaping his choices hadn't been his own. Sources say that realization landed hard because once the illusion cracks, once you start questioning what's real and what's been shaped for you, there's no going back. Every memory gets rechecked. Every decision feels heavier. And that's when Harry did something almost no one expected. Instead of issuing statements or trying to steer the narrative, he went quiet. Then he reached backward, not to tabloids, not to friendly journalists, not to powerful fixers who could spin the moment. He reached out to people from his past, old army friends who knew him without titles or expectations. People who had his back even when it wasn't convenient. These weren't dramatic calls, no ultimatums, no big plans announced. Insiders say the conversations were simple, careful, and deeply personal. They weren't about institutions or image repair. They were about grounding, about remembering who he was before life turned into a performance, before contracts, deals, and global attention dictated every move, before every sentence had to clear layers of approval. Those close to him say these talks changed something fundamental. Harry isn't asking what to do next. He's asking who he used to be, what mattered before loyalty went public and love became strategic, and whether that version of himself still belongs in his future. That's what makes this moment so unsettling to the structure around him. Because once a man starts looking backward for truth, the system holding him in place starts to shake. Not anger, not rebellion, reflection. And reflection breaks systems far more quietly and far more completely. Friends describe Prince Harry as calm but alert, like someone slowly assembling a truth he avoided for years. The isolation he once accepted as the price of freedom now feels like a warning sign he ignored for too long. As Harry steps away from the life chosen for him and inches closer to the one he remembers, the silence around him becomes intentional. Fewer voices, fewer influences, fewer distractions. And for the first time since leaving the UK, those closest to him believe he's no longer asking how to survive this life, but whether it was ever truly his to begin with. So what did Harry discover in the quiet of his own world? And how far will he go to reclaim an identity that slowly slipped away? As the spotlight shifted and the silence grew colder, Harry pulled inward. At the same time, people close to Meghan Markle say she began sensing a change in public sentiment. Support that once felt locked in started moving fast. Momentum around media ventures slowed. Streaming enthusiasm cooled. Invitations that once came easily began drying up. And the one certainty she believed would never shake, Harry's unquestioned loyalty, suddenly didn't feel guaranteed. Insiders say that uncertainty sparked what they describe as a counter-move. Meghan reportedly began planning a glossy, high-profile magazine feature designed to reset the story once again. The goal was familiar, but urgent. Reframe herself as misunderstood, unfairly targeted, pushed by misinformation and bias. In the past, that strategy worked, but this time, the ground underneath had already shifted. This time, it didn't land. Hollywood didn't rush in to defend her. Former allies stayed silent. Fashion editors hesitated. Talk show hosts looked the other way. Even A-list friends who were once reliable kept their distance. The sympathy that once wrapped around Meghan Markle like armor thinned into something far colder. Silence. And inside that quiet, sources say the pressure finally showed. One staff member claims they overheard Meghan late one night on a phone call, her voice breaking as she said she had given up everything for Harry. Everything, only to now feel cast as the villain. It was raw, emotional, and deeply personal. But here's the truth. No one around them wanted to say out loud. Prince Harry wasn't trying to tear her down. He was trying to find himself. That contrast became impossible to ignore. That same week, Harry attended a private veterans gathering in Santa Barbara. No cameras, no press, no Meghan. Just a quiet room filled with people who knew him long before the royal exit, before documentaries, before California turned his life into a carefully staged version of freedom. Witnesses say the atmosphere was heavy, but supportive. At one point, Harry became openly emotional, his feelings visible as he spoke. He told the group something that stuck with everyone there. "You don't realize how lost you are until someone takes the compass away." After a pause, he added quietly that he believed he'd been doing the right thing. But somewhere along the way, he stopped being himself. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't staged. It was honest in a way few had ever seen. That moment spread through the veteran community, not as gossip, but as concern. And right there, everything began circling back on itself. Shortly after all of this, a journalist with deep royal connections dropped what many now see as the real turning point behind the scenes. Prince Harry had reportedly been working quietly with a publisher on a new personal project, one that Meghan Markle did not support. This wasn't another documentary. It wasn't a headline-driven memoir. It was something far more revealing, a raw, deeply personal work focused on Harry's identity, not their shared narrative. According to people familiar with early excerpts, the project is direct, unfiltered, and stripped of spin. No talking points, no brand protection. For the first time, Harry isn't telling a story shaped by strategy. He's telling his own. And insiders say that possibility is more unsettling than any headline, because once the man who was guided, managed, and protected starts speaking for himself, the illusion doesn't bend. It breaks. The brand fractures. The fairy tale fades. And as Harry grows quieter, more deliberate, and more resolved, those watching closely can feel it building toward a moment where he no longer tries to hold it together at all. So, what do you think happens next? Will Harry fully reclaim his life? Or does the Sussex story finally unravel? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.